tell you a little bit about Kara, and then we'll make sure that we bring her in very quickly. So she's a Charlotte native, and she's a former special education teacher. Kara was homeschooled from fourth grade to 12th grade. So she's second generation. She's homeschooling her three boys now, which are they are you can see how much she's pouring into her boys. They really are wonderful boys. She has her bachelor's and her master's degree in special education, and she brings her expertise to the homeschool world as a passionate educator. She still does her one-on-one support specialist for students with diverse learning needs. So Kara, she also leads a Facebook book, which maybe Stephanie can plug into our comments so that people can see the links and maybe copy and paste for themselves to follow Kara on Facebook and see if they can join those groups. It goes from kindergarten to fifth grade, so it kind of follows her kids' paths too, as far as they age up. So now that we've introduced Kara, Kara, you have the floor. You go for it because I got my pen and paper now.
Well, hi, everybody. I am so excited to be here. I am truly passionate about homeschooling. As Mary mentioned, I am a second generation homeschooler. I taught in the school system, but as soon as I got pregnant with my oldest, I was like, oh, this is not going to fly. Working as a special ed teacher and trying to be a sane human mom, everything else. So I left the school system, gave my position up, and then I was like, what am I going to do? I have to do something because of my husband's job, also with the school system. I still needed to work part-time. And so I started working with families who are homeschooling their children who have various levels of learning support needs, anywhere from children who require full assistance for their entire day, all the way to children who maybe have ADHD or mild learning disabilities, that the home is still just a better place for them.
Kara, I think you froze on us. Hope she's able to come in.
And with what curricula would likely work for their kids. Obviously, we can have a great plan and everything can be great on paper. And then you get into the teaching and you find that it's just not working. So we'll also talk about that in just a little bit of what to do when your perfect plan that you know is going to be the right fit ends up not being the right fit. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. I am in North Carolina. I know quite a few of you in here are in North Carolina, but my first people is just to check and make sure with your local homeschool laws, if you are not in North Carolina, if there are any subject requirements that you will be teaching. There are many states that require you to teach a certain number of subjects. And if that is the case, you will want to know ahead of time
Kara, if you can hear us.
to look like. We all homeschool for different reasons, and we know our children best. And so coming from that standpoint will kind of make it easier for us to choose curricula or to eliminate curricula as we're looking at this very overwhelming amount. So here are some things to kind of think about. Do you want something like a classical education? This is going to be where you are maybe learning Latin. Maybe you are memorizing poems. Maybe you want something that's really structured. Is that something that you're wanting? Then, put that on your list of, this is something that I definitely want to see in my curricula. Or maybe you want all of your learning to be pretty hands-on. Maybe you're thinking of a more Montessori approach or a child-led approach. So if you see a curricula that has a lot of worksheets and not very much hands-on stuff, you'll be able to set that one to the side, even if it sounds amazing, because you know that what you want is something that's more hands-on. Maybe you want something that's thematic based. Maybe you want something that's more teacher directed. instead of child-led, because you know that your child gets overwhelmed when presented with too much. Other things to kind of think about is, do you want something that's very digitally heavy? We have some kids who are highly motivated by being on the computer, by doing things digitally. And so a digital-based curricula is really going to be a benefit for them. Or maybe you're on the opposite end. Maybe you are thinking, oh no, if we pull out the computer, the only thing my kid is going to do is going to be harass me to play on the computer or to watch their show or whatever else. I don't want to have hardly anything video or computer based in our curricula. So if you kind of map out what you're thinking, it's going to make it a lot easier for you to decide, yes, this is aligning with what I am thinking that I want, or this is not aligning at all with what I want. Let's just completely set that to the side. So kind of having an idea of what you want ahead of time makes it a little bit less overwhelming when you are looking at all of the options out there, because there really, really is so many. The second thing that I have parents really think about is, how much time do you have for planning and preparing your lessons, whether that's daily, whether that's weekly, whether that's monthly. How much time and energy do you have? And if you have more than one kid, do you have the energy to spread that across maybe one or two kids, all of your kids? If you have kids that are older and kids that are younger, they might have different needs, and you might have to stretch your availability between those. When I first started, I was like, oh, I'm a teacher. I love planning so much. I have a degree in this and I have so many resources from teaching. Why would I go and buy a curriculum? I am going to make all of my curricula from scratch. And guess how long that lasted, folks? That lasted 1 year. And was I very burnt out at the end of that year? I was. That is correct. I was very burnt out and was like, why am I doing this? This is insane. I have 2 little kids and a kindergartner that I'm trying to create all my curriculum. I had the best intentions. I thought it was going to be amazing. I have since learned that I prefer to have a curriculum is the way to go. Goodness. And if that is you, great. I am so happy for you. I am glad that you were able to do that and to build that. And then you might be one of those people that are like, nope, just hand me exactly what I want. I want a script. I want you to tell me exactly what to say, when to say it, what time of year that we're doing this. So if you have that in mind, you have kind of another way of either saying yes, no to a certain curricula. Mostly online, that's PDF based. Also keep in mind, do I have access to a printer? Can I easily print these things? Do I want to be printing these things? Do I have that wherewithal to do that? Is just another thing to kind of think of that goes along with that planning is my printer access, how much, planning time do I have each week? And if that's not something that you have easy access to, I don't recommend getting a curricula that has to be printed every week. Another big affiliation with your curricula. There's a lot of curricula out there that is very religiously based. And there's even a spectrum of how religiously based or involved the curricula is. If you are someone who prefers for religion not to be in your curricula, that's already going to make your curriculum choices about this wide. There's a lot less out there that is not religiously based versus those that are religious.
Kara.
Investigate how entrenched that religious base is into the curricula. For some curricula, it is just the maybe how best to say that it is just the foundation in which the company is built on and is maybe not ingrained so much in the day-to-day lessons. Whereas for other religiously based curricula, it is very much so part of the day-to-day. And so if you know for sure, I do or don't want religion within your curricula, that will easily help you kind of pare down a lot of the curricula. Another thing to think about is, are you wanting to get everything from one publisher or from one place, just kind of like a one-stop fits all? Or do you want to be able to pick and choose from different places? I personally have 3 kids, and my oldest is my reader. I probably did not even have to do a whole lot of teaching him to reading for him to pick it out. He's one of those few kids that are what we call intuitive readers. But my second child is dyslexic. And so learning to read is really hard for him. And he definitely needed a curricula that was going to provide a lot of support. But then for math, they're reversed. So poor thing, did not get the math smarts. It takes a lot of work for him. But my second child, he can be listening to his older brother's math lesson that's happening downstairs, and he's yelling the correct answers from downstairs. So for us, getting a curricula all from one place did not work very well, because we needed curricula that I could have high levels of support for reading and maybe not as much support for math, or vice versa. Some kids are able to just get from one place, and it's all at one grade level, and that's great. That's the other thing to think about, is kind of tentative grade levels. We're homeschoolers. Please don't ask my children what grade level they're in. They're just going to turn around and look at me and go, what's the answer? Because my oldest is working on like a 6th grade level stuff for reading. And so all of his stuff says like grade 6, but then his math book says grade 4. And then our history curriculum says 2nd through 8th grade. And our, science curricula says something different. So if you have kids whose skills are really scattered, sometimes being able to choose from different grade levels and different publishers is really going to be the best fit. So for some people, that one publisher, one grade level really works. And then for other people, that's not going to work so much. I tend to find that most families have kids with scattered skills more than the kids that can just one grade level all the way across. Check with your local moms who are homeschoolers and see what they are using. So once you kind of have a narrow choice of kind of what you're looking at, see if anybody in your homeschooling community is using those same things. In our co-op, I think we have about 10 people or so who are all using the same reading curricula and who's all using the same math curricula. And it's great because we can ask each other questions about it, or if we're trying to decide which level to go for, hey, so-and-so, I know that your child just did that level last year. Can I look at it? Can I borrow it? Can I go through it? It's also a great way, if you're looking to change curricula, to physically have it in your hand to look through it. Other options are, if your local community, like here in Charlotte, we have a great consignment store that's all about homeschooling material. And I have been known to go in and literally sit my rear end down on the floor and to have everything just sprawled out in front of me and just go through it and see. Physically having it in my hand looks very different than just scrolling through a few samples online. If a few samples online is all you can get, that's fine. Join the social media pages for the curricula that you're thinking of considering. Sometimes they will let you buy, sell, trade for expense purposes. To help keep it cheaper. You can also kind of see the types of questions that parents are asking, maybe the points of the curriculum that are maybe not as strong, because a lot of people maybe have the same questions over and over again. So that's another way to kind of look at the curriculum before buying it. as much as you can get it in your hand, or as much familiarity that you can get with it prior to using it, will really help you decide, is this something that you want to use or not? I know a couple of years ago, I was looking at homeschooling curricula, and I thought for sure I had found the one. I was like, I have joined their Facebook group. I've heard so many people talking about it. I've seen the samples online. It is going to be amazing. I hated every single moment of it. And I kicked myself. I was like, I should have gone and tried to see this in person. But that happens. And in a few minutes, we'll kind of talk about what we can do when curricula is just not working. But in the process of trying to choose curriculum, the most you can get your hands on it to really see how it looks in real life is a great way to get a better idea of how it's going to work for you and your family and your kids. The next thing is thinking about, okay, so I have a kid who does really well with reading. I didn't need as much, reading support for him, but then my next kiddo needed a lot more reading support. So when you're looking at curricula, it's okay if things change and evolve from year to year. The first couple of years that I was doing reading lessons with my middle kid, I didn't realize how much support that he was going to need in reading. He was a very eager learner to learn to read. He was begging me to learn to read, to the point where I was like, if you don't stop asking me, mommy is going to get very frustrated because you were pestering me the entire reading lesson for your brother and we can't get anything done. But now over the years, I've seen, okay, well, our reading curricula that worked really well as is for your brother, for this kid, maybe not so much, right? And so he's going to need more supports. So don't be afraid of changing as it goes on. What I did in kindergarten with my youngest and creating my own curriculum, and it was great until it wasn't. Things evolve and change. And so if you feel like at the end of a year that this curricula is just not really working, okay to change. So let's it might tell us, hey, it's time for a curricula change. A lot of parents that I've talked to when they're talking to me about, oh, I maybe need to change curricula, sometimes they feel really bad. They're like, oh my goodness, I did such a disservice. And I want parents to understand that thinking that you need to change the curriculum is not a failure as you as a parent. If you have done your research and you selected what you thought was going to be a good curriculum, you realizing that it needs to change is actually really the best thing for your child. You are realizing that I need to do what I need to do what's best for my kid, to meet their needs. You are realizing the curriculum is not the boss, and you are now seeking out what is needed for your kid to be successful. So don't think that, oh my goodness, because I'm having to change the curriculum somehow that you failed. No, you're just realizing that your kid needs a different level of support. One of the biggest things that is probably that telltale sign that this might not be the curricula for you is constant frustration or tears from you, me, or your kid. We don't homeschool to be frustrated. We don't homeschool for our kids to be frustrated. If every single time you pull out that piece of curricula, one of the two of you end up in tears, it is not the curricula for you. I don't care if you as the parent love it. I don't care if every single person in your co-op thinks it's amazing. If one of the two of you are ending up in tears, it's not the curricula for you. It's just not. It's time to set it aside and do something different. Occasional frustration is normal. If you are my middle child, whining every time it's time to start any sort of lesson is his normal. But if it is a daily tears or a daily battle, it's worth reevaluating, because that's just it's the peace and the sanity and the relationship is not worth it. And obviously the curriculum is just not serving well. Another sign could be the loss of engagement. So if you are having to the entire lesson work really hard to keep your kid from zoning out, or from trying to get out of the lesson, or from being busy or being distracted, and you are having to do a lot of correction and a lot of effort to keep them engaged in the lesson, it might be time to change the curriculum. It could also be time to just change up how you present the curricula, but it's at least worth looking at, okay, well, how can we change this so that my child is a little bit more engaged? Maybe it's changing how we present the curriculum, or maybe if that takes too much changing in order to get them engaged, maybe it's just time to change the curriculum altogether. Another thing to look at is skills aren't progressing. So this one is a little bit trickier to kind of fine tune, especially if you have a kiddo that needs extra learning supports. If you have given it a fair trial, and when I say a fair trial, you have been trying it for like 8 weeks or so, and you are implementing it with fidelity, meaning you are implementing the curricula how it was written, and your child is not picking up on the skills that are being presented, it might be time to reevaluate the curriculum. It might be that it needs to be adjusted a little bit. Maybe the pace is going too fast, or maybe they're not getting enough practice. But it also could be that how the curricula is presenting is just not a good fit with how your kid is learning, or doesn't provide enough support with how they're learning. So if their skills are not progressing, that is going to be another time to kind of evaluate whether or not we need to continue with this curriculum, or maybe we need to pull something in with this curricula to kind of supplement it. Another one is too much parent burnt out. So this kind of goes along with that frustration. This goes back to me trying to do all of the curriculum my first year because I thought it was going to be so fun and awesome. But like by March, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to spend another weekend trying to get stuff put together. And I was so stressed. And my husband was like, what are you doing? I'm like, I am creating the best kindergarten curricula ever. But I was too stressed. I was burnt out. I was getting to the point where I couldn't be my best self with my kids because the curricula itself was too much. So if you are noticing parent burnout, then maybe it is time to switch to a curricula that requires maybe less of you to be teaching. Maybe it's something that needs less preparation for you to get started each week. Maybe it builds in more student independent work so that less of it is having to be facilitated by you. So if you or the parent are getting to the point where you feel like it is too much, then it's time to reevaluate the curriculum. Another one is life situations change. When I was first starting, I was just homeschooling my one kid. I was still working part-time, but the demands of my working and teaching at that point were not very much. Now that I have 3 kids that I'm homeschooling, it has changed. What I need has changed. I can't teach every single lesson to every single kid. I don't have enough time in my day. The lessons are a lot longer. I've picked up another position that I do for working. So I'm now out of the house 5 days a week. Life situations have changed. So my curricula has had to adapt to that. I have friends that have babies. We all know that when you have a baby, life is very different. You are probably not easily coordinating getting to your lessons. So maybe you evaluate doing a digital curriculum for a little while to help fill in that things. Maybe you're going to be doing a lot of awesome traveling this year. And maybe instead of doing the traditional sit down curricula that you've been doing, maybe you do more of a thematic learning on the go, learning about the places that you're visiting, integrating your math and reading lessons in with that. But it's much more relaxed because you're going to be on the road. When life changes, our curricula and our homeschooling atmosphere can change too. And we don't have to hold on to that curricula, even if it's working in all other aspects when life change happens. You can either pick it back up later, or you might find that that new thing that you do services you better as you go on to the next stage of your life. The last thing, if you are feeling like I am not quite sure if this is the right curricula, if I should ditch it or if I should get a new one. New one is really expensive. I don't really want to, pay that right now. I can't really pay that. or I'm just not really sure what's going on, always try tweaking your curricula first. Maybe it's adjusting the pace. Maybe you're supplementing with other things. There's a lot of free stuff out there, whether it's via Pinterest or whether it's through homeschool blogs or things like that. So maybe you supplement for a little while. Maybe you put curriculum on pause for a little bit. I know that sounds like super crazy, but maybe it's just that you need a little bit of a break. We still do some learning things throughout the summer, but like we need that summer pause. We need like 6 to 8 weeks in the summer. We do book club, we do fun activities, we go on field trips, we set all the curricula aside. And then when we pull that curricula back out in August and sit down, it's so fresh and it feels completely different than what it did back in May. And maybe you need a curricula pause in March. Maybe you need, to supplement starting in October because it's already not feeling right. So don't feel like you are tied to a school calendar to do these supplements, to do these adjustings. So just know that if it's not working, you can always try adjusting. And after you've adjusted, after you've taken a pause, maybe you've changed the formatting. If all of that and you're still struggling with it, then it might be time to go back to the reevaluating what your homeschool looks like and rethinking about what are the things that I need in a curricula, and let's find something new. And going back to maybe that original list that you had of things that you did and did not want in your curricula, maybe redo that list and go from there to find something new and something different. Mary, I will turn it back over to you and open up for questions.
Yeah, I'll just let you keep the floor. I just posted your 6 tips for kind of evaluating and determining when in the comments when you need to possibly make tweaks, adjustments, or just complete pivots. So thank you for sharing that. I think a lot of parents have been and maybe are in that same boat. And I think that's a critical point that we've all gotten to in this journey of homeschooling. So it's so relatable. So thank you so much, Kara. But please, if you have questions, you are welcome to put them in the comments and we'll quickly read them so that Kara can answer them for us. We'll give it just a few minutes. And in the meantime, I think I had a question, Kara, just about you talked about in the beginning when we're evaluating what curriculum works and there's different types. I think how do we determine what our child's learning style is? Is there like something, some kind of indicator or a resource that you use or something that we can go to?
So I don't have a particular resource. There are lots of like online like quizzes and stuff like that that you can do. You know your child best because you are the expert on your child. So I have 3 kids, but you would never know that they all came from the same house or from my uterus because they're all so different. But like my oldest has always kind of been more of the like, oh, I'm gonna sit and I'm gonna color and I'm gonna read. And so he's a kid that I'm like, okay, yeah, you would do well with sitting down and doing some worksheets. My middle child is trying to always unalive himself. And so he is a kid that needs really short lessons. And if he's perched on the table, then he is the happiest. So I always knew that he was probably going to need some more manipulatives. And then my youngest is kind of a mixed bag. He likes to sit and read, but like numbers and stuff are not really his thing, even like counting songs and stuff like that. He was just never really interested in math. So I knew that I was going to need something probably with a lot of manipulatives with him to really get him like buy in to what we're doing. So I think kind of knowing the personality of your kids ahead of time is more helpful than necessarily a general like test of, oh, well, if they've scored 10 points, then this is what they are. It's just kind of thinking of how they interact with their daily life as it is can kind of give you some good clues about what they're going to be like. Your kid that like has trouble falling asleep if they haven't run 30 laps and like, spent 5 hours outside is probably not going to do really well with a classical education that requires a lot of sitting and memorization.
Okay. Um, Let me see if there's any more questions. Some of the parents, thankfully, helpfully, there's some that were answered by in the comments just about where in Charlotte is the consignment shop. That was answered. But I also have a question about, so when we talk about evaluation of a curriculum, do you usually like give it maybe a month or two just to kind of see how your child and you adapt to that curriculum? Or is there a moment where you do some type of a mid-year kind of assessment?
If you will repeat that, so my screen froze for a minute and I didn't hear the full question.
Steph and I always preach the importance of a pivot, but sometimes parents don't know when that pivot should happen. I think they think, oh, is there a specific time period where they kind of need to do an assessment, take a pause and just say, okay, I'm seeing some of these
Honey, can
signs
I get on?
that
No,
you had
you didn't say
mentioned.
you want to do the route wrong. Hold
Is
on.
there a, I'm sorry, um, is there is there a specific time where you maybe in September, October, if you start in August, that you maybe should say, okay, let me pause because I see some of these signs. Maybe we need to pivot now. Or do you think we should
I
just,
really think once you start seeing more than like a sign or two, or if it's a constant fight, like there's no point of waiting, like 10 or 12 weeks. Or if you started in August and you're like, oh, well, I have to wait until November to evaluate. I mean, I think it's when it starts to become even this idea of, oh, maybe I need to pivot. That's probably the time to start trying to adjust what you're doing with the curricula. Can you add in more manipulatives? Or you could be like, your kid could be like my oldest kid. My oldest hates playing any sort of games with his curricula. He's like, just teach me the lesson. I don't.
uh-oh. No, she's been having some issues with her internet. We're gonna just I hate that we lost Kara, but we're going to move to Deborah. I'm sorry, Kara, we lost you for a second. You're on you're mute.
What I am used to. Sorry, I am at my mom's house and her internet is not jiving with my computer super well. Um, So I was saying that as soon as you start seeing the frustrations, or as soon as you start seeing the signs of maybe we should pivot, there's no point of torturing you or your kid longer than you have to. As soon as you start thinking, oh, this is not quite working, would be the time to maybe start making adjustments. And through those adjustments, evaluating if I'm having to adjust every single aspect of the lesson, then it's time to switch curricula. But if it's like my oldest who was like, I just don't like playing the games. I don't want to play the games. Just teach me the material. Oh, I was like, oh, it's easy to take the games out, but we can keep the
Right.
rest of the
Yeah,
curriculum.
that's good. So you're not wasting money trying to find some alternative, and it
Yeah.
really is just the activity.
Yeah. But if you're
So
having to adjust every single aspect of the curricula to like make it work,
that's an indicator.
then it's not really working at that point.
Yeah. So Amy, I'm going to ask Amy's question, and then any other questions that come through for you, Kara, if you don't mind, in the comments as we introduce Deborah next, just in the interest of time, if you can help answer some of those in the comments as Deborah starts. But Amy's question is, do you have some good go-to independent activities for other kids while you're, oh, that's a good question, Amy, because I had that same question, while you're working with your other child?
Yeah, so we do family style learning for history and science because that just makes it easier, so that I'm not trying to entertain other kids. I try to group my older two now for math so that I only have one kid. So I do find that as much as you can teach together, that helps. We do a lot of things like the magnetiles, dominoes, the snap circuits. I'm not it depends, obviously, if you have a 2-year-old, please don't give them snap circuits. Um, but things like that. So things that they could really be hands-on with, and kind of doing and moving their bodies that were also kind of quiet. I have 3 boys. None of them were like ever super into drawing until they were older. So that was never one for me. And if I had really little ones, I was never above giving the others a snack so that we could get through a lesson in peace.
Snacks work.
I'm like, it's carrots and apples and crackers. Go for it. So never above that. And then also too, sometimes I just spend really little periods of time teaching, and get that kid started so that I can do a little bit of teaching with the next kid and get them started so that there's just not as much downtime.
Yeah.
Once your kids get older and they're a little more independent, having them all working at the same time, if possible, has kind of been my go-to.
Yeah. If you can answer this question in the chat, because I'm sure other moms and parents on here would have that same question about any curriculum recommendations for newbie homeschool moms to look into. I always love an open and go curriculum, especially as a newbie. But if you have any specific recommendations, if you don't mind sharing that in the comments, Kara, so that Steph can introduce Deborah and we
Yes.
can talk about AI.
Righty. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kara.
Sarah, that was amazing. Thank you so much for sharing all that information. So continue asking Kara questions in the chat. I am going to move forward to this next session, and that is smart homeschooling with AI tools, tips, and tech. So I am introducing Deborah Haywood. Actually, let me share a nice little screen we have with her if I have it available. Oh, thought I had it available. Maybe I don't. Okay, I thought I had a nice, lovely picture of you, Deborah. So I will not waste time trying to find it. So, okay, let me introduce Deborah, everyone. Deborah Haywood is another second generation homeschooler. She's a homeschool mom of 6 kids, ranging from ages 4 to 16. Did I get that right? Okay, she's been homeschooling for over 10 years since her oldest started kindergarten. And she considers herself to be an eclectic homeschooler. I am too. And her hobbies include reading, learning foreign languages, and drinking coffee. So what Deborah's going to help us do today is discover how to use AI in a smart way to support and streamline your homeschool. And she'll show us how to create custom unit studies, generate curriculum ideas, gather research quickly with tools like ChatGPT, and teaching kids how to use AI safely and effectively for projects, and how to guide them in discerning quality information. That's a good one. She'll introduce a tool, a really cool tool called Notion to manage your child's curriculum and coursework. So, Deborah, welcome. You take it away, and if you want to share your screen, go right ahead.
Okay, I'll introduce myself first. Excuse my voice. I've been a little under the weather the last couple of days, so hopefully you can hear me. Okay. My name is Deborah. Like she said, I'm a homeschool mom of 6 kids. I have 3 girls and 3 boys, as she said, ranging from age 4 all the way up to 16. So my oldest will be starting 11th grade this year, and my youngest is going to be attending a local preschool. She was in the mix last year, and it just got to be a little too much. And so we're kind of sending her off for this year to go to preschool, and then she'll come home for kindergarten next year. So I'll have kindergarten through 12th grade. It'll be my only year where I'll have all 6 kids together. Yeah, like she said, I want to just share just a little bit about myself. I am naturally not an organized person. It just not something that comes naturally to me. And I originally started organizing digitally with a program called Trello. And I saw how it could really help me in my homeschool because I was the one that was taking just a scrap of paper and writing something on the back for next week's plan. I've actually never used a box curriculum. I've always been eclectic. I've always been, I make it up as I go along. And so when I started using Trello, it was a game changer for me. And then I began using Notion with my language learning hobby and saw how I could really be helpful with my homeschooling. And then 2 years ago, my best friend introduced me to ChatGPT, and that's when everything like really changed for me. So I'm actually going to share my screen, and let's see if I can do it. Share. Yeah. Oh. Is it sharing? I don't know.
Is it letting you share? I have it.
I clicked the share button and okay, let me see. Open system settings. Can you see my screen? No. Okay, let me try it again.
Try it one more time.
Okay. I'll share here. Oh, okay, I see. I'm sorry. I'm not the most tech savvy person.
No, I may have changed the setting too. You're totally fine.
It says I need a password. Okay. I'm sorry.
Say that one more time.
Okay. Oh no, cancel. All right, let me try again. All right, I'll try one more time, and if not, I'll just move on.
Is it asking for a password, you said?
Um,
Oh, I see your screen.
Oh, you see it now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Okay. Okay, so I actually prepared this all in Notion. So this is actually Notion that you're seeing. So first, I want to talk about using existing curriculum with AI. So a misconception that some people may have is that in order to use AI in your homeschool, you have to totally ditch what you have working. And that is totally not the case. If you have a curriculum, just like we heard about all the options from Kara, if you have a curriculum that's working for you, that's, working for your kids, that everyone is really thriving, AI, and I just use ChatGPT. I know there are lots of different tools out there. I only have experience with ChatGPT. ChatGPT can be a great supplemental tool for an existing curriculum that you have. You can use it to supplement the lessons that you have. Let's say you have a history reading that may be just a little too out of range for some of your younger learners. You can actually just copy that into ChatGPT and have it rewrite it for younger learners. Or if the reverse is the case, if it's just a little too young for some of your older learners, you can have it rewrite that same passage at a higher grade level. You can also have it adapt the curriculum that you have for different ages and learning styles. So like we heard from Kara about different learning styles. So if you have a curriculum that is maybe suited more for auditory learners or visual learners, you can ask ChatGPT for kinesthetic activities, or if you want more auditory activities or suggestions, you can ask ChatGPT for those things as well. You can use it to create more practice. If you have a curriculum and you feel like it just didn't give me enough practice, it didn't give me enough for my child to review, you can actually create worksheets in ChatGPT. And with the paid version, you can have it create PDFs right from the platform. You can use ChatGPT without having the paid version, but it does have extra features with the paid version. Another thing that it can do is connect the curriculum that you have to your child's interest. So let's say your child just really isn't into whatever, passage that they're reading, whether it's a history lesson or a science lesson, but they're really into, dinosaurs, or they're really into Pokemon. You can ask ChatGPT to rewrite this lesson with that in mind, with a focus on that particular topic. You can also ask it to summarize and simplify text for younger kids, as I mentioned. The other thing you can do with ChatGPT, close this one, is create your own curriculum. And this is where ChatGPT really shines for me. In fact, this coming school year, I built all of my curriculum in ChatGPT with the exception of math handwriting and spelling, I believe. So all of my science, all of my kids' history, all of their geography, civics, all of that I made right in ChatGPT. And it was very, very quick to do. So you can build unit studies from scratch. Unit studies are a great option for families with kids in multiple grades or multiple ages, such as myself. It's great to be able to study one topic across multiple age ranges. So we all study history together, science together. Now, I have 2 high schoolers this year, so they have their own history and science. But with my middle kids, we're going to be studying all of our science, history, geography, all of that together. So I built our unit studies with ChatGPT, and I'm going to show you some examples in just a little bit. The other thing is you can use ChatGPT for is building daily and weekly lesson plans. So you have this lesson that ChatGPT has given you, but now what do you do with it? How do you use it on a day-to-day basis? You can ask it to create daily lesson plans based on the time that you have. Let's say you want to start at 11 and you want to finish by 2 or 3. Hey, how can I, schedule my week to cover all of these things so that we don't feel overwhelmed, but we still get everything done? It can create a lesson plan for you for your week or for your day or for your month, however you like to flow. Me, I'm more of a module type learner. I don't really like to be blocked into a day or a week. I like to kind of flow with our interests. And so it can create modules for you as well. This is one of the things. This next thing is custom book lists. And this is, one thing that I actually love is because I'm a book lover. And my homeschool is, really literature based, is creating custom book lists. So if I have my 4th grader, my, 6th grader, I want to create a custom book list for them based on their interests, based on their reading level. Even though they might be in a certain grade, they may be reading at a different level. So I can create a custom book list for them at their level and their interest. So I have my 4th grader, she's really into fairy tales. So I can ask ChatGPT, hey, give me some book suggestions for my 4th grader who's reading at a 6th grade level that, for someone who really likes fairy tales. And ChatGPT will give me a list of 10 books that I may never even heard of that I can then, put on my child's book list. The other thing ChatGPT can do is interactive role play games. This is one thing that I use in my language learning. You can also use it if your children are learning foreign languages. You can have ChatGPT role play as a cashier at a grocery store or a waiter in a restaurant and have your child practice interacting with that person in Spanish or in French or German or whatever language your child is learning or your family is learning together. I just wanted to do a quick demo. I have a prompt here. So just to show you how quickly you can create curriculum in ChatGPT. So I think this is going to take me right to ChatGPT. I already have prompts loaded. So I'm asking ChatGPT to create a 4-week unit study on the solar system for a 5th grader. I wanted to include the following for each week: a theme with a brief description, 3 book recommendations, mixing nonfiction and story-based options, 2 hands-on activities that can be done using common household items, which is very important, very important. You don't want some obscure, ingredients for your science experiments, and 1 short writing assignment or writing or art assignment, and then 1 engaging video or online resource. So all I click is go, and you can see how quickly it will build me a 4-week, give me a 4-week outline for exactly what I asked. It gives me the book suggestions, the hands-on activities, the writing assignment, and a video, this is a link to this website. Let's say I get to the bottom of it and I'm like, my kids are really into gaming, and can you create a gamification component to this curriculum? I can add that and just say, can you add a gamification aspect to this lesson? And it will rewrite it and give me points, how to rank the points, and then rewrite the whole plan based on a gamification component, which I think is just amazing. And honestly, I had a really hard time putting this talk together because with AI, the possibilities are really limitless. I had a really hard time narrowing down exactly what I was going to share and talk about because I could probably go on for an hour just talking about AI, but I'm not going to do that for the sake of time. So let's go back to our talk. Where's this one? So teaching kids how to use AI. One thing that how my kids use AI is with research. So they can use AI to research different topics, to ask for different background information if they're studying something in particular. They can ask for timelines. They can ask for writing prompts if they're stuck. They have a writing assignment and they're just really stuck. They can ask for a writing prompt just to kind of get them going. And that also helps with the next point, brainstorming project ideas. If they have a project that they have to do for history, science, geography, they can ask ChatGPT for, excuse me, for some ideas to just to help them get started. And then the way that we've really used it this past year is with practicing skills. So if my kids need extra help in math, I can use ChatGPT as a math tutor. They can, my daughter can take a photo, a screenshot or a photo of her math book, put that right into ChatGPT and ask for a step-by-step breakdown of how to solve this problem. She used this a lot this past year. She was having trouble with commutative property and algebraic equations. And she could take a picture of the problem in her math book, ask ChatGPT for a step-by-step breakdown, and it could walk her through in real time with each problem on how to solve it. And it was a real game changer for her in her math this past year. Trello is one of the programs that I mentioned. And now that, you know, you've gotten all of this, and like I said, I really feel like I breezed through ChatGPT. There's just so much that you could, you know, experiment with and, you know, try out on your own. I really didn't do a lot of as much justice as it deserves. But once you get all of the activities, once it creates this, you know, curriculum for you or your unit studies, then what do you do with it? And one way you can start is using Trello. Now, Trello is just a really user-friendly application. It's a website, it's free. And I used it when I first started using digital planners. I wanted to just show you very quickly what it looks like so you can get an idea. This is just a portfolio that I had back from, you know, 2022 for my kids. So you can see each child has their own column. And it was a way for me to just document what they had read, math things, you know, math assignments they had completed for the year. And that way I could just drag and drop them here, check them off. And it was a great way to look back as well as to plan. Uh, But now moving on to Notion, and Notion is one of my favorite things of all time. Second, I don't know which one I like more, Notion or ChatGPT, because I use them so much. Usually I use both of them every day. I just wanted to show you briefly my Notion homepage. And Notion, it's similar to Trello, but it does have a little bit of a learning curve. And so I would, if you do want to get into using Notion, there are so many online tutorials on YouTube. That's really how I learned and got into it. But while you're learning how to use Notion, if you want to use Trello as kind of like a bridge to Notion, that's a great starting place. But this is my Notion homepage, and I'm going to show you my homepage, my library, one of my daughter's student page, and then one of the unit studies that I created. So this is my homepage. This is the name of my homeschool, Cedar Heights. I have here at the top my student pages. These are my kids. And then on the side here, I have just links to my library, my planner, resources, records, etc. Here in the middle is our circle time schedule. And then here I have our core work. Now I love one of the features of Notion is that I can create custom views for each child or however I can manipulate how I want to see the information. So this is showing me now only the core work for my son Austin. And we start school tomorrow, the 11th. So it's going to show me exactly what we have to do for just this week. but I can just have a different view and just see the coursework for my daughter, Annalise. This is what it looks like when I see everybody's work all together. So it's definitely a lot more. I can also filter how I participate with each child. So if I just want to see, hey, what do I have to do with the children, for each day? It shows me, this is what I have to do with each child during the day. And then what are they doing independently? And so I can toggle between those two lists. So it's really a phenomenal resource for planning and organizing information. And then here at the bottom, I have our Explorers unit, which we're going to start tomorrow, which I created completely in ChatGPT. I think there may be a couple of activities that I came up with on my own, but for the most part, this is completely made by ChatGPT. And this is actually a linked database, just showing me the activities for just this week. One of the new features that I love about, or one, I want to say it's not new, but one of the new ways I started using Notion was to create video courses. So one of the things I love is you can embed videos straight from YouTube. And so we can watch the video, or your child can watch the video straight in Notion, and they don't have to go to YouTube. So there's no ads, no, distractions, nothing like that. They can watch the video right in YouTube. The other thing is that I can take the transcript from the video, put that in ChatGPT, and then create discussion questions just for that video. So these are the discussion questions that I got from the transcript, or I got from ChatGPT, just from the transcript of this video that we're going to be discussing and doing this week. So it's a huge perk, I guess, or benefit, is how you can create your own video courses. You can take a playlist from YouTube and you take the transcripts, make discussion questions, quizzes, assignments, all from the video transcript. The next thing I want to show you is my library, which I absolutely love. This is my Cedar Heights library. So I catalog so many books. And one of the things I love is that when I'm at the store, I've duplicate bought so many books because I couldn't remember what I had at home. I can go right to this on my phone and say, hey, do I already have that book? The other thing I love is that I can create book studies right in each card. So this is a book study for The Indian in the Cupboard that my son's going to be doing this year. I also can create student book list. So I can look and see, this is a book list for this year for my son James for 2025-26. So I can look back over the years and see, hey, who read what book when? So when my fourth grader is in, high school, I can see, hey, what books did my other daughter read for history in, 11th grade or 10th grade? And I can have this archive, which is a huge time saver and a great way to look back on what I've already done. Let me go back. I think I was showing you let me go to slides. Oh, my unit study. And I think that was the last thing. In my planner, I have my courses and I have my Explorers unit study. So like I said, I like to plan in modules. So these are the 3 modules that I have. And so these are all of my activities for my Explorers unit. I can sort them by subject. So these are subjects that I have across all of the activities. So art, geography, history, language, arts, math, and science. I can't see because it's behind the picture. And then I can also sort them by activity. So cooking activities, drama, experiments, games, hands-on activities, inquiry questions, map work, reading, and videos. So like I said, there's so much to be able to see and do with Notion. I would highly recommend anybody taking the time, investing the time to learn how to use it. I'm not even a professional. I've seen some people's boards on YouTube that are even more intricate and more advanced than mine, but mine, serves its purpose. Go back to my talk. Okay. And lastly, I wanted to talk about how to get started with ChatGPT, and Notion. So the one thing you can do is just start with a simple prompt. Go to ChatGPT. It's absolutely free. Just say, hey, how can I use AI in my homeschool? I mean, that's just a simple way to get started. And then just let your imagination just go wild. There's no right or wrong prompts. There's no right or wrong way to use it. I would really encourage you to just play around with it and see what you can come up with, what you can create, what you can invent. And then save your work, the things that it gives you, to save them in Trello. You can use a Google Doc, just a way to keep track of what you've gained from ChatGPT. And then you always want to fact check. ChatGPT is not perfect. It can give you misinformation, false information. Sometimes it can make stuff up that isn't even real, which I haven't really found a lot of that, but you do definitely want to proofread and read, things before you give them to your kids, before you use them, before you teach them. So you definitely want to fact check your outputs. And then, like I said, Notion does have a learning curve, and start with Trello as a bridge. And then there's lots of YouTube tutorials for both Trello and Notion to get some ideas to see how other people are using Trello and Notion in their homeschool. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Stephanie.
Wow, wow, wow. Deborah, that was amazing. I know there were some questions that were popping up, and I have questions. I don't know who else will have questions, but first, thank you for that. That was so informative.
Oh, you're
I
welcome.
know you shared Notion with me a year ago, and I told myself that I was going to get into Notion, but didn't set the time to get started with it. And now looking at your demo again just makes me want to jump on Notion all over again. One question I wanted to start off with is the Notion just seems so convoluted. Like, how can someone get started with a demo or just trying to figure out how to work this whole program? Do you have a YouTube link that you would suggest for a tutorial with Notion? Like, how long did it take you to even start putting all this together?
And yeah, no, that is a great question. I don't have a specific link. There are tons of Notion tutorials on YouTube. If you just search for how to get started with Notion or how to learn to use Notion, you'll get tons of options that'll come up. And how do I stop sharing my screen? Do you know?
There should be a
Like,
stop share button
I
at the
stop
top
sharing. Oh,
of
okay. Let
your
me see if I
window.
can find it.
But speaking of sharing, someone is actually asking um, if you could share your notes, at least the
Oh, I'm
outline notes
sorry.
you had.
I'm
Um,
sorry. I just kind of got lost. I'm so sorry.
no, that's okay.
Okay, there we are. Okay, I'm back.
Are
Okay.
you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Well,
Okay.
someone is asking if you can share some of your outline notes from
Oh, yeah,
today.
definitely.
I don't know if you have,
Yeah, I do. I have
any.
outline notes. But I don't know if I finished answering your question. Oh, how long did it take me? I want to say just to get started, it took me a couple of months just from watching YouTube videos, trying things out, watching another video, trying it out, watching a video, learning something new, and then trying that out. And just trial and error, learning the different vocabulary that people use, from like knowing what a page is and a database and a toggle and all of this lingo. I just had to learn, and it definitely was an investment of time. But I want to say it was definitely 2 to 3 months before I felt like I could put something together that was like what you saw, like what you saw. Um, but yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm still learning and growing with Notion. I was watching a video the other day of someone using Notion. I'm like, oh, I haven't even tried that. I'll have to see how I can incorporate that in my pages. So yeah, there's always room to grow and learn. But yes, I love
I,
Notion.
I think it is astounding that you have created curriculums for 6 children and you don't have any boxed curriculum.
No, I've never used a box curriculum, and all my kids love it. For example, my daughter this year, she's studying physics for high school, and she also wants to go into set design in theater and film, and that's what she wants to study in school. So I created a physics course for her in ChatGPT with an emphasis on set design. So all of her labs are some type of set design project, whether it's doing with lighting or building some type of structure, using whatever physics, aspect or concept that she's learning during the course. So my kids absolutely love, being interest-led. I'm an interest-led learner. They love being able to follow, what they're excited about and their passion. Yeah, and ChatGPT has just enhanced that, along with Notion, me being able to capture all of what ChatGPT, can provide in a functional way.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's amazing. One thing about you, Deborah, is that you ask the kids what are they interested in learning.
Yeah,
And I remember a
absolutely.
year ago, your daughter was saying, I wanted to learn about, was it about Egypt or something?
Yeah, she
Was
did ancient Egypt last year.
ancient
Yes.
Egypt, and you just created a curriculum
Yep.
and put it in Notion for her to follow. That's
Yeah. Oh, I
incredible.
forgot to mention that my older kids do use Notion on their own, so they can access my Notion page on their laptop or their tablet, and so they can, look at their coursework and check things off as they go throughout the day and throughout the week.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Amy is asking, do you use the free version of ChatGPT to get, these responses you're getting?
Yes, I personally have the paid version, but I only upgraded to the paid version a few months ago. Anything that I showed you today, you can do with the free version. The only thing that I know that the paid version does that I didn't show you was to create PDFs. So if I wanted to create which I have done, created worksheets for like writing or grammar or math, I can ask it, this is what I want, tell it this is what I want. And then it'll say, oh, would you like me to create this in a PDF? And I can just upload it and print it right out for them to do. So
Yes,
that
that's
is with the paid version. I think you do get one PDF per day with the free version, but if you want unlimited PDFs, it's the upgraded version.
Oh, okay. Well, there
Mhm.
is a workaround around that because I do
Oh,
use
okay.
ChatGPT to create worksheets. Like,
Yeah,
say, if
yeah.
kids are learning a certain number of vocabulary words and I wanted to give them a quiz, I would
Hmm.
ask ChatGPT to create a multiple choice quiz with these
Hmm.
vocabulary words. And there is a copy feature for you to select
Oh,
the
yes.
whole
Mhm.
thing
Yes.
and paste it in Google Docs, and there
Yes.
you go.
The other thing you can do with that, you can do that same thing with Notion. If you were to copy and paste it, which everything I have is copy and paste from ChatGPT to Notion, and then you can export the page from Notion and it creates a PDF as well. So that's another free way around that whole issue because Notion is free. There is a paid version for Notion. I don't have it. It's for, companies with teams and things like that. But what I use it for is absolutely free.
Awesome. And someone else is asking, can you revisit quickly the major differences between using Trello versus Notion? I know already the Notion is way more involved
Mm.
than Trello is, but could you recap the differences?
Yeah, yeah. So the difference between Trello and Notion is that with Trello, you can only view your information one way. So the columns that I showed you, that's the only way you can lay out information within Trello, which is still very helpful and beneficial. I used Trello for years and loved it before I found Notion. The benefit with Notion is that you can look at the information in different ways, whether it be a spreadsheet, whether it be a board. Like I showed you different ways. I didn't, go through all of what they're called when I showed you, but some of the things that you saw were spreadsheets. Some of them were what was referred to as galleries. Some of them, like when you saw my library, that was a gallery view. When you saw um, my explorers unit, that was a board view. So I love the thing that I love about Notion is that you can view the information in different ways. With Trello, you are limited only to seeing it, like I said, in that one, those columns, which are still great, which is still a great way to organize information. But that is the difference, is that there's not a lot of flexibility with Trello.
Right. Well, I do love that Notion is not used only for you to plan your homeschool year, but your kids are using it
Oh,
as
yeah.
their agenda for the
Yes.
day. So
And
it's
I
like
love that they,
visual
like I
planning
said,
for them.
yeah, they can watch those videos that I assigned to them right there on their tablets inside Notion. So, which is a great feature.
Yes. Wow. You can certainly do a master class on this. If
Like
anyone
I
has
said, it was so hard. I had such a hard time narrowing down because
narrowing
I
down
could,
just
yeah,
all of
narrowing it
that meat
down.
you just
Yeah,
shared.
because I could go on for a long time, but
Yes, yes, that
thank
was
you so
very
much.
involved. Does anyone have any other questions they want to put in the chat? That was absolutely amazing. It's got my gears turning, that's
And
for
Stephanie, I
sure.
will put this out there. If anybody's interested or if there is interest, I can make a YouTube walkthrough of my Notion um, board from start to
Yes,
finish.
please.
Okay.
Yes, yes, and yes.
I had to get off mute for that one.
Okay. I will assign myself the projects. Making a YouTube walkthrough of my Notion board. And I guess I can send you the link when it's ready to go.
Okay,
Just
yes.
to put out there. Okay.
And you said you do have a YouTube
I do
channel.
have a YouTube channel. It's Janelle's Mom 80. I don't have a lot of homeschool content. I don't consider myself a YouTuber. So, but that is
That's
my
fine.
my homeschool, I mean, my YouTube channel.
Well, if you ever put the YouTube,
Yes,
you know,
I
video
will. I
up,
promise. I will.
we will monitor
You will
your
watch.
channel and see it when it's ready. Do you mind putting that name again
Oh,
in the
sure.
chat
Absolutely.
to make sure it's spelled right? There's a lot of interest in the chat, Deborah. So
Okay.
I'm telling you, she showed me this a year ago, guys, and I just could not jump in. I just don't know where to get started with it.
Yeah, maybe I can do some tutorials as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
if you
looking at
guys
your program, it's like what we saw today looks like
Mm.
it's something that you have built upon over the years,
Oh,
right? This is
yeah.
years of building upon your
No, no, no.
no?
No. Well, the program that I have, what you saw today, I used last year, and so I've made a couple of tweaks to it, but I had really only been using that for a year, so it's only been about a year that I've used that. So once
Wow.
you get going with Notion, once you learn how to use it, it's really like riding a bike. Once you can do it, you just kind of take off. So
Well,
it's that
help us
initial
get going.
start.
Help us get started, please.
Okay, I will.
my mind is blown.
Okay. Well,
Mind is blown.
what's that, Mary?
And my mind is blown.
Yes, I totally could be asking more questions, but Deborah, we wish you the best starting school
Thank you so
tomorrow.
much. Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much for taking time to give us that breakdown of all these tools. I mean, I just love how detailed you get with ChatGPT. I just never think to ask in
Mm.
that level of depth. So thank you for,
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
yes, helping
Yeah,
us with
you guys stay tuned. If you're not on our Instagram page, get on it so that when we do hear from Deborah about some of the things that she said she was going to share, we can post up on our page as well, or find some way of sharing with you all. So subscribe to our website or get some way connected, but also follow her on our page because I'm gonna be watching too. So thank you, Deborah.
I think I did post that in the chat, my YouTube.
Yes.
Okay.
it's in the chat, everyone. Thank you. All right, Mary, let's take it away. Introduce the last speaker of the day.
Yeah, last but not least, our girl, Tenikca Gainey. So Tenikca is really, I just want to say that we know Deborah because of Tenikca. She is like the connector. Really, she really is. I think that's why we just adore her because she is a pleasure to really know as a friend. I call her my homeschool homie, and she's an MVP as far as, creating a community and connecting women in this area together. I think she's like a force multiplier. Those people that you meet and you just know and expect that they kind of have a sense of womanhood, community, and want to build. So let me just tell you a little bit about Tanika because we're going to be talking about um, prep, her acronym, and how to build a routine that really works for you. So Tenikca is a crafty, creative homeschool mom based in North Carolina, this area where we live, who shares easy DIYs, memorable family celebration ideas. And I'm gonna tell you, she does a really great job at that. Homeschool inspirations that are budget friendly and intentional. She's all about helping parents create rhythms that support real life, encouraging memory making and celebrating wins and fails along the way. Tenikca has recently expanded her content into resources for diverse and neurodiverse learners. So Stephanie, if you don't mind putting into the comments the three ways that people can connect, kind of get a hold of her resources that she's providing, and then also how to follow her on YouTube and Instagram. But I'm going to just let her jump right in because I think one of the most important things we try to think about in this incubator is what are the three main things that parents should be considering thinking about when they're in that planning stage. And routine and schedules is probably one of the next to curriculum and an ease of how to go about homeschooling with AI and technology is how to create a routine that really works and accommodates your lifestyle. So Tenikca, take it away.
Thank you so much. I let me just say that maybe I am God's favorite because I knew both Deborah and Kara before this, and I just feel like my life has infinitely improved, like just in great grandeur since then. So hopefully I can help just put a little cute bow on what they both shared today. Like Mary said, I'm Tenikca. I call myself a recovering perfectionist. I'm an Enneagram 6, rhythm seeker, and I just love celebrations and organizing. And so, like she said, I'm sharing what I call the prep method. I also love alliteration and I love acronyms. So, prep actually stands for something. And I just wanted to let y'all know that a couple of years ago, our entire homeschool, the way we did what we did when we did it, completely changed. I'm talking turned upside down, shaken out, and I don't there's like fight, flight, and freeze. I had all three and then some, and I came up with this to get me to a place of moving forward sustainably, because the way that I was planning before, the way that I was organizing before for our family, for our homeschool, it was not sustainable. So I am gonna share my screen, y'all. Okay. Can everybody see it? Thumbs up, down. Okay. So the acronym PREP, okay, it stands for prioritize, reporting and research, evaluate, and prepare. Okay. So I also just want to say that this can be implemented at any time. Like I said before, the way that I was planning before just was not sustainable. I was always going back to the drawing board. I was always changing things. I was always frustrated, which meant the frustration trickled down. And so with this, I could go back at any time. So the first step, prioritize. One of my favorite authors, she asked this question a lot, like, what matters most right now? And that truly could be anything, wherever you are in your planning. I know here we have a mom that is like going into her first year of homeschooling. And so what matters most to her right now might be finding community. For someone that has like a high schooler, it might be making sure they get all of their requirements. Like, you're just taking the time to prioritize. This is where I brain dump. I get out all the things. And I also do a lot of like reflecting in this time as well. Like, I will ask myself what worked, what didn't work? Where did I have some good wins? What did I need to change a lot? You know, and you also integrate all of those things that Kara brought up before, you know, job changes, schedule changes, you have a child entering puberty, and we have different emotional needs. All of these things I feel like um are a part are things that are missing when you think of like typical planning for your homeschool year. And I say this because I learned a long time ago that it is you focus on the home of homeschool more of the school of homeschool, right? Because this is why we're here. You know, this is why we're doing what we're doing, and we can focus more on those first four letters that will then overflow and pour out to the school part. So one of the things that I do and what the reflection helps me do is like choose a word for our homeschool year. So this upcoming year, our word is cultivate. Last year, our word was harvest. You can also set family goals during this time. So last year, our goal, you know, as a family, like we wanted to read aloud more. You really get below the surface here and kind of figure out what's making the waves of your household ocean, you know, and especially going from honestly constant stress on the go, irritation, you know, me throwing a workbook and saying, do this page, you haven't done math in 4 days, you know, to what it is that I really truly wanted in our home, which was peace, joy, connection. You have to like not stay on the surface, if you will. So to help you guys maybe get started with this, one of the questions that like Deborah asked me, she was like, what is the foundation of your homeschool? And one of the things that I kind of live by are the pillars of my homeschool. And those are goodness, beauty, truth, and wonder. To piggyback off of what Kara was saying before, those pillars really help me narrow down like what comes in our home. If it doesn't have goodness, beauty, truth, and wonder, it doesn't come out. And then what the ladies were saying earlier, I heard things of like mapping out, aligning, less overwhelm, re-evaluating. All of that, it can be comprised in this prep method because it's more than just a schedule. This is about like taking the needs and wants of your family and making it a rhythm of your household. Okay, so the second one, that the first one was prioritized. The second one is reporting and research. It often gets skipped. I skipped it, or I wasn't gonna say I skipped it. I don't feel like I did it its service, right? So truly taking that time and going back to the year before or years before, and looking at what goals were met, where do we need to change things, what are some new goals, what do we want more of. I'm a big fan of like having dopamine drops for me and my kids. Even things, if you have kids that maybe need more support, if they are in, you know, speech therapy or occupational therapy or have a tutor, all of those things can be a part of your reporting and research. In North Carolina, we have to do annual testing. So you could definitely see if there are any holes there, things you can add in. And another thing I do is I really have like one-on-one check-ins with my kids. And so I will ask them like, what did you really love about last year? What do you not want to do anymore? what was really fun for you. And since implementing this method and just kind of really shifting our homeschool, I mean, multiple times this year, both of my kids have come to me and been like, this has just been our best year. Like this has just been the best year. And I am just delighted because I actually feel like I physically have done a lot less. It's been a lot less mentally. It's been a lot less stress, but we've gained so much more. So checking with them, I also, ask them about their like specific curriculum, For example, this year I was really thinking about switching the math. We've used the same math for a certain number of years, and I just kind of feel like we've plateaued with it. No shade to that company, but we've plateaued. And so the things that I was looking at for my kids, I brought it to them. And I was just like, okay, I feel like you like this. How do we feel about these two things? What are your thoughts? And honestly, I you think you know your kids, right? But one of the math curriculums I was looking at for my oldest, he was just like, that is too much on the page. I do not like that. He wanted, okay, white paper, black numbers, all right, a sentence of instruction. That's it. Okay. And I'm trying to sell it. Look at this. It has a nice story and some manipulate. I don't want that in math. Okay. So you checking in with them, getting that feedback and understanding. So like Kara said, you're not having that struggle. And so after that, right? So we did prioritize reporting and research. We evaluate. And I know that is really more of like is used a lot in professional settings. A lot of people don't think about using that in their home, but it truly like starts the engines, if you will. What Kara said earlier about their learning styles, me and my kids, we have all three learning styles. It just is what it is, okay? It can look like chaos around here sometimes. But also their emotional needs. Like I talk about like their love tanks a lot. I have one child whose love language is words of affirmation and quality time. So I am going to choose or create a curriculum where he is going to be in his zone. He is going to get the, oh, wow, way to go. And he is going to just be able to sit right next to me and do it. Like truly, sometimes that is all he needs. Because I don't think in traditional learning spaces, they cannot accommodate for that. It's too many kids, too many love tanks, but we have that unique privilege to do so. And so why not make that just as much as a priority as math? Their developmental needs as well. Where do we need to take a little bit more time? My youngest really, struggles with reading and learning to read. And it really has now like affected his confidence. And so I now am going to pivot to pouring into him, to getting him the help that he needs without him feeling babied. And then also highlighting his strengths and where he advances. This is also a time, like Kara said earlier, about like when you need to pivot from a curriculum, or Deborah brought up using AI to accompany a curriculum. So for example, my oldest, while he is like an avid reader, has never enjoyed spelling, didn't want to write. And so because I did this method last year, I was able to say like, okay, there isn't anything, physically stopping him from being able to spell. This is a mentality. And so I spent all last year literally just building his confidence in spelling. I never checked if words were spelled right. I let him have so much fun in the way that he learns to do spelling. It was fun. And so, and then, the residual of that was his spelling actually did improve. He is writing more. And so I was able to then say, okay, I really like this foundation of this curriculum, but it's not going to work for as is for this child's learning style, right? So then I was able to go to ChatGPT and say, hey, I love this. I love the list. I love the rules. I think it's really what we need. But I need something that's multisensory, that's going to be engaging, but also not drawn out. And then, we were able to come up with, I don't know if you can see that. Sorry. We created just like a companion to go with the curriculum. And it's super simple. Like I said, dopamine, right? The cards, and then even like this dry erase sheet. I don't know why dry erase is a hit in our house. They really like it. It takes away the effect of, I don't know, something being wrong permanently. I don't know, but that's what we got. And so I can show him this, and he could say, or when I did show him, he was just like, oh, okay, right, yeah. And it wasn't the flight when you hear the word spelling anymore, simply because I was able to go back and say, it's not that you can't, you aren't confident, and take the time to focus solely on that. Sorry. This is another great time to, like I said, work it out, break things down. I love a mind map. I love a brain dump. I do this like per term, per subject, and just really dissect what it is that I want, if there are any issues or anything like that. And then, like, I call it like the some days. Can we incorporate them now? Maybe it's an activity, for probably like a year or so. My youngest kept asking to learn to play the violin, And if you know my youngest, this is the same child that asked for a pogo stick, like it. How serious are we about this? I don't know if investing in that is for right now. That went on the someday list, and then we were able to do it. And oh my gosh, it's fantastic. Loves it now. But I fully believe if we had started with the violin, then I would have looked up and that violin would have been in pieces, and then I would have been in jail, So yes, that is the evaluate stage. And so, like I said, I know it's more of a business term, but you get really, really, really good soil for the next step, which is prepare. And that's why it's the last time, because we did, the reflecting, the evaluating, our vision, what we want, what we don't want. And then we get to make it tangible, if you will. So in the prepare, that's when we go into creating the rhythms, not a schedule. We are a fan of loop schedules. Depending on your family, your home style, you can determine that. We can map out our terms using that slide you just saw and our subjects. I also take this time to prepare me. I, have a teacher resource binder with, our scope and sequences and things of that. And when it's time for me to go through this phase again, I have that information handy to say, like, did we go over all of this? Do I feel like this was even necessary? Do I feel like we need to go over this again? This is also the time we can do things like register for activities, you know, sign them up for the swim, the scouts, if you're in a co-op or anything like that, and get all of that ready to go, you know, the supplies you may need for that or whatever. I also make sure we have, you know, our dentist appointments, our annual physicals, all of those things done at that time. This is a really also a good time to see what your budget is looking like. And I always incorporate our traditions. I just love celebrations, big, small, and different. And so we have several ones to like gear up for back to school. I have like a day out with each kid. We have like a planner day where they, you know, like go in and use all of my old planner stickers and decorate their planners. Like it doesn't matter. But we also, like I said, will have a daily rhythm. This is a blank one that's on the screen right now. But I will fill this in as needed. I have learned that like it's okay for this to change. Like your daily rhythm can change because at the end of the day, you're just moving closer to those first questions you asked. What matters most right now? Your loop schedule, that can change too, because again, you're moving closer to what matters most right now. Seasons change, needs change, all that stuff. So it's just what matters most right now. I am going to just wrap up and say, I created the companion planning journal for this reason, because I didn't want or didn't need another actual planner. I desired a way to commemorate, take notes. I'm also a really big fan of legacy documentation and just have it all in one place. This can also be done digitally for, you know, my good notes girls, and all of that stuff. But yeah, you brain dump, add a little dopamine. I am very, very particular about stationery as well. So those are mommy's pins. They are not community. Okay. I love a mug. Okay. And I'm pretty sure it's coffee in that one, but it's no telling what could be in my mug at any point in time of the day because it's my mug. Okay. But yeah, you can just take the time and really delve in. But I also wanted to say, like, this method, I think I said it earlier, isn't necessarily about doing more. It's just about maybe doing things a little differently to really, really enhance you, enhance your family, and enhance your homeschool. I'm going to turn it back over to Mary.
Girl. So a lot of people want you to share some of your pages. I saw some people ask that question. Let me tell you something. I actually am using mine for the notes today, the book that you so kindly gifted me, my companion. And I wanted to share because she is also a mompreneur, Tenikca, and the link that Stephanie posted earlier, if you scroll up in the comments, you can have access to be able to get your own companion book. We always love to feature and celebrate, and we'll get to that moment in a second, other homeschool mamas in this space of homeschooling and serving their family, but also building something of their own through passion and dreams. So we'll have an opportunity. Oh, Steph just posted it again, the link to have access to get a hold of a book like this and to plan your own routine. But thank you, Tenikca. I'm trying to see if there's any questions. Steph, am I missing something? It's hard for me to toggle through my comments right
I
now.
see some questions. Devin said the pages are beautiful. She needs them. She wanted to know if you wouldn't mind sharing an example of your routine.
Oh, of course. By routine, did she mean like the loop schedule? I'm so sorry. I can't see the
Devin, do
actual.
you want to get your mic off to expound on that? Were you talking about just a daily routine?
Oh,
Oh, she said loop schedule. What a day
oh,
looks like for you.
okay. So I'm so sorry. Can you all see this? I can try and go back and like pull it up on my computer if y'all can't.
I can,
Um,
yeah.
okay. But
Not the
this
easiest
is
though.
for hours. So I have it separated by competencies. And those are not like the true core subjects. If you know, it's not the reading, writing, and arithmetic. You know what I mean? So history, science, Spanish, things that are still important, right? um our language arts loop, we are very much a language rich heavy household. I was actually just talking to a friend and saying that um we might have focused a little too much on the language and literature part and might need to do some things otherwise. And so our language arts loop is just bigger and longer because I am accommodating the different learning needs of my kids. And then, sorry guys, I have our innovation here, which is our crafting loop. I don't know about your kids, but my kids, they like to just take literal trash and make things, and there's tape and glue all over the floor, and I have to walk away because that gives me a headache. But because they love it, there is a certain time for it, and you have to stay within these parameters of it. My kids' interest, I talked about that earlier, like things they like to learn. So my youngest really wants to focus on like drawing principles, and my oldest wants like actual engineering and architecture. So with the help of ChatGPT, I created, a course for them focused on that. They're both in Scouts, and so sometimes you might have a at-home requirement or something like that, and then their personal reading time. And then for us, what we do every day is morning magic, math, a competency, something in language arts, foundations, which is something new, literature, and innovation. And so the loop part is these items here will loop. It doesn't mean we do each one every day. We might do one per week. But that is how we can kind of get it done without the overwhelm of seeing all of this stuff.
And Tenikca, if I can interject for a moment, if you're able to share that screen, only because it's hard to kind of see that loop page, if you're able to find that again on your slides, there are several people in the comments who are asking about your loop schedule. And it probably would be
Okay.
good to explain that concept for people who don't know what a loop schedule is.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're asking, wanting to know a little bit more about your loop schedule, um, and how you incorporate that on that sheet of yours.
Okay. I am finding it now to download it and share it.
Oh, because what Risa was saying is, and I agree, I used to do this a lot when my kids were younger as well, is that loop schedules really do help take the pressure off of feeling like you have to do everything in one day, or, in a compact, compressed amount of time. You can spread it out and just toggle through the different topics that are important to you all.
Yeah. And it also, I feel like, takes the tension out of that moment because, again, we want more of a rhythm, not a schedule. And so it's even like crazy for me to say this now, but the way I used to plan and was so, rigid, it was from, 11:43 to 12:17. That was history. Okay. We were not, no, we're not doing history before that or after that. But now if we want to spend an hour and a half on whatever history is, and history is done for the week or whatever, that is a much better engagement to the lesson than just like a checkbox. I did it. It's here. um so,
And
all
if
right.
it's too much, I'm sorry, you don't have to bring it up. I didn't know if it
Oh,
was already on your side.
got it right here.
Maybe this will help people kind of better visualize how to set a loop schedule.
Yes. And then so this is my oldest one, James. This and I just know about the different language arts, but his main ELA I created. We also have spelling, which you all saw, um, wordly wise vocabulary, his handwriting, and his literature. So here you see we do literature every day, but there are different components. So he might read 2 days. We might have 2 days of discussion or something like that. Or, he might read 3 days for spelling. That might be 2 days. We might not even get to vocabulary that week, and that's okay. He might only do handwriting once, and again, that's okay because the goal isn't, for him to do handwriting every day. The goal is for him to gain confidence in writing in cursive. That is why we are implementing handwriting. And so when you, again, what matters most right now, and you remember that, you can move that into your planning and your scheduling. So it's not about getting it done and how much you get it done and completing this curriculum, in the 36 weeks. It is how the material was implemented, received, and then its output.
That's awesome.
Um,
Yes, I think that's great. If you all take a look at that link, that is where that page is in her companion tool. And
oh,
if it's in the companion tool, I'm sorry.
yes. Sorry. I would just saw another question about how do I get started with the routine when me and my kids aren't used to it. Um, okay. So I believe like one other thing is like start small, right? So if for any person, child, adult, anything in between, if you have to do everything different tomorrow than you did it today, it's not going to work. I'm sorry to tell you, it's just not. And even if it does work, it's not going to work long time. So start small. Maybe it is, hey guys, I know we've been eating breakfast around 10:30, and that is great for the summer. But we are gonna start our lessons around 11. So breakfast is from this time to this time. I need y'all up. And we need to have breakfast. I personally, people laugh at me about this, but I do a soft launch for our homeschool because it's a lot of new. It's a lot of introduction. It's a lot of even things that may have been the same, but because we haven't done it in so long, we'll be doing it again. And so I'll do a soft launch. I will try and make it exciting, you know, walking them through their new things, new books, stuff like that. Um, I also have to like constantly give everybody grace. I'd say I joke all the time, like, yay, it's the first day, you know, our first day back. I get to redirect my kids all day long. Because sometimes that's just what it takes. Okay. Um, in just the gentle, maybe sometimes stern. Nope, we're doing this right now. Okay, that's great. That's not a choice right now. Okay, well, let's get through this and then we can discuss that. Oh, you know what? We have this to do, and then we're going to have innovation time, and you can do that during your innovation time. I I typically even have to train myself with just like a lot of scripts for all of the redirection that has to happen. And once we get one thing kind of down, we can then add on another thing.
That's awesome.
Can I elaborate on the legacy? Oh, legacy planning and documenting. So what I mean by that is just when I have in one place like what we did then, how we did it, I can reflect and say, and I'll have it there like, okay, this worked, this didn't work. Or even like those someday lists that I brought about. If I see that from 2 or 3 years ago, and I can say, oh, yes, I did want James to read this book at this age, and I can add that to our list. Or I can say, um, you know, I brought I wrote 3 years ago that, you know, I was not going to do dissections until both of my kids could do it and I could be done. It turns out this is that year. So y'all just hold me in your hearts. But just things like that, like, okay, all right, let me gear up for specimens. Um,
I did a
and it's
frog dissection in May. You'll be okay. It's not that bad.
thank you for your support. Um, so just things like that. Also, like again, we have to test in North Carolina, or if you do evaluations or something like that, where there may have been like a need, or they're doing great and everything, but insert whatever here. You can see if there has been an inch of progress. And then if there hasn't, why? What is it that we need to integrate, or what is it that we need to change? I feel like I'm over my time now, so I can answer the rest of these questions in the chat.
I was just about to say yes, because there's some great questions in here. You have definitely dropped a wealth of knowledge. Wow, just to help us kind of look at the overarching view of what our homeschool should look like. Like I'm one that likes to dive into the details, but I don't take a step back to look at the overall view starting up there. So thank you so much for sharing this. This is amazing. But if you do see other questions, Tenikca, please answer those in the chat so that we could respect everyone's time. We are going to start to wrap up this amazing event. We still have a couple of things left. And one of them right now we want to get into is the mompreneur spotlight. That is an opportunity for you all. I know there's some mompreneurs in here. If you are, we want you to take a moment to actually write down in the chat what your business is, how we can find you. If you have a handle or a website, can you please share that in the chat at this time and maybe give us a quick little few phrases of what it is that you're doing. It doesn't have to be homeschool related. But Mary and I love to support mompreneurs. That's one of the things that we desire to do, which is why we've come together and to create this community. So while you are doing that, I hope there's people who are writing some things down. We do want to highlight one mompreneur who is here. And let me go ahead and share my screen. She has created, for those who are local to the Charlotte area, she's created a website called Homeschool Happenings. I hope you can see that. This is an awesome local website that shows local events that are constantly being updated. So I think it's amazing that she has directories and events that are specific to Charlotte. So homeschool moms can see what is going on in the area all on one page. So we think this is amazing. If you are in Charlotte, please add this to your list, your bookmark list, happeninghomeschool.com. And hopefully this will help you as you, like Tenikca has taught us today, how to create a routine. You can incorporate some field trips and events based off what you see on this page.
There's Curio Spark, one mama posted. Thank you for posting that. They develop project-based homeschool workshops. Ooh, tell me more. She has a new guide for parents to connect and help discover their kids' interests and create a rhythm that work. Come on, mama, that works for everyone. She said it'll be up this week. We'll be checking it out. She put her link to where you can find it in the comments. So make sure that you grab it now so that you don't lose it. Just copy and paste. I'm gonna see if I can do the same. Um, Anyone else? Oh, help busy moms do an e-commerce well. So her site is thechefandthewigmaker.com. Oh, that's interesting.
Wow.
Jane, tell me exactly do you do? Um, it's okay. It doesn't have to be homeschool related. Is this Tana? She does Drew Alexander Consulting. We support brilliant leaders, especially melanated women in turning bold vision into strategic. Oh, we might need you. Strategic action. We support through planning, retreats, and operational trainings. That sounds really interesting.
Oh my
Um,
goodness.
Amy Craig. So she has a learning to read program. Amy, do you have a link or something?
Oh, she's asking early. That was a question
Oh,
earlier
sorry about
about
that.
some learning to read programs for kids.
Oh, Jane is a wig maker. Ooh, Jane. Okay.
That's amazing.
That's awesome. I just love this community. Like Stephanie and I were saying, like we really just want to be a blessing and making sure that as we serve our families and really want to be a blessing to our families and pour out, we really do want to make sure that as women, when we're pursuing goals, we support one another. So anyone else, Steph, you see?
Yeah, we got
Creative
Lynn Johnson.
Media, Kingdom Creative Media. We help nonprofits and community-based orgs tell their story through multimedia communications. And her website is www.kingdomcreativemedia.org. Um, so
Okay, we got
before
connections being made. Love it.
you want to start, or as they continue to come in, please keep an eye out on the comments. But Steph, in the interest of time, you want to go ahead and do the planner, just a overview of the planner, and then just do our giveaway real quick.
Okay, so just want to let you know what's coming up on the raffle is our homeschool planner again that we have created for the homeschool lifestyle. You can see a description on our website, melaninmamashomeschooling.com, about an undated 12-month planner 186 pages. Sometimes people just like paper to write in. So if that is your thing, you will find a lot of different features in here, including pages to help you make your own vision statement, or write your own vision for your family, mission statement. We have goal writing sheets, quarterly check-in sheets, attendance sheets for those who need to record attendance in their state. We have end of year assessments. And so we wanted to make it nice and simple for you to navigate. We have what's the plan sheets for every month. And in that plan is your self-care plan. So we want you to hold yourself accountable to making sure you're taking care of yourself. Because if we don't have a mama who's taking care of themselves, it's going to flow out into our homeschool. So we're hoping that you will prioritize your self-care. So we give you a box to be able to do that. And we have some gold foil tabs and all the things. And we have 2 different colors at the moment for you to choose from. So the winner can tell us which one they want, this purple print or simple for any neutral minimalist people such as myself. We have it in black as well. Okay, so we are going to get ready and announce this winner. If I can get this up, I will show it so we can have evidence that everyone saw who the winner was, but hopefully they are here. Are you ready? Jaren Atkins.
Oh, Jaren. Oh, she's here.
Is she here?
Yeah, I see. It's just the last comment.
Well,
That's awesome, Jaren.
congratulations, Jaren.
Congratulations. Jaren, could you how do you want her to do this, Steph? Do you want her to DM us on
We have
Insta?
her email address. So what we
Oh,
can
that's
do is
right.
reach
That's right.
out to you, Jaren, and figure out all the details to get this over to you. So congratulations. We hope this is a very helpful tool for your homeschool this year. Oh, thank you, Lynn. She said she has a purple one, received lots of compliments about it, attending her homeschool expo in Atlanta. Well, I am trying to make my way down to Atlanta for their homeschool expos one of these years. All right, congratulations, Jaren. Okay, Mary, did you want to wrap it up? That's all I had.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say thank you all for taking your time. I know we're short on time. I just pray a special prayer over all of us mamas in this community that, as we go into this new year, that we just receive a grace that we need in those moments where it gets overwhelming and very hard and challenging, where we want to give up. We've all had those moments that we receive the grace that we need. It is available to us in a greater measure than we can even ask or expect from Him, our Father. So thank you, Lord, for this opportunity for us to be together, to connect with one another. And I pray, God, that as we go into our new years, we cover our children. We ask that you continually bless our homes, give us the ability to continue in this work and this passion of serving our families, educating our children, building new cultures into our homes, just walking a path that it might be different from the other people that we may encounter, but it's a calling, and we have willfully accepted that calling. So we know that with that, you will give us the grace to be able to get through those challenging moments and to celebrate and to be grateful in those moments where we're seeing the fruits of our labor. So thank you for this year. Thank you for all that you have prepared for this year. It's going to be a blessed and wonderful year. And I am just so grateful for the opportunity for us to glean from these women, these speakers, bless their homes, bless their lives for what they've given us today. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Mary, for that. Ladies, it's been wonderful. Thank you for giving 2 hours of your time with us today. We hope that you've gained a lot of wisdom, that you've been encouraged motivated, charged up. I knew I needed a spark to get back deep into my planning for this year. So if you all have any questions, further questions, reach out to us. And we'd love to get some feedback from you on what you thought about this event. And if you had maybe somebody you thought might be great to speak and share their words of wisdom, we might do a part 2. So reach out to us and give us your feedback. But thank you so much. You all
Yeah.
have a great
Stay
evening and a
tuned.
great school year.
Happy homeschooling, y'all.